Hey everyone, and welcome back to the series where I stitch a square out of the Granny Square Stitches card deck every week all year. And I had to miss last week because I lost my voice. So let's do two this week, starting with this one. This is called Pip Stitch, and it looks like it is a whole lot of spiked V stitches. So that's going to be interesting. All right, let's read the words. To work the square shown on the card, make 16 chain and follow the chart. Working all odd number rows in yarn A, and work stripes of yarns B through D for the even number rows, working until square ending with an odd numbered row. Okie doke. And then we do our single crochet edging, which we've done throughout. And your stitch multiple is 3. Your starting chain needs to be a multiple of 3, and then you add 4 for like the turning chain. All right. So I don't have a like deep burgundy color in the colors that I pulled for this project. So I am going to be substituting dark denim for that sort of burgundy color on the card, but then I've got lemon ice, peach pink, and agate green for the other colors that you see there. Let's get started. We're going to start with our deep denim or dark denim, and we need to make a chain of 16. So slip knot on my hook and chain 16 and 16. So let's see what we're doing into that chain. And you know I like to work into my back bumps, so we will cover that when I get there. So I've made my chain of 16, and now it looks like I am creating a double crochet. So this is where sometimes charts get a little confusing, because we've got this line here that you might want to think sort of matters for row 2, but it doesn't, because that is a double crochet from row I guess 3, sorry, we're working on row 1. That's a double crochet from row 3 that comes all the way down into row 1, so we can ignore that little line for now. So what we are concerned with are these double crochets here. So this double crochet is our first official stitch, and it goes into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th chain from the hook. And these will sort of count, like these 3 chains here will count as a double crochet, and then that will count as like a chain space. So I will be putting a stitch marker into this chain here because I need to work into it in subsequent rows. So double crochet into the 5th chain from the hook, chain 1, and then double crochet back into that same chain, skip 2 chains, and repeat. Make our V-stitch. So our V-stitch is this double crochet, a chain 1, and a double crochet. And basically the whole pattern is that V-stitch. We're just changing where we place it. These extra long ones are spiked V's that come down like a whole row below, kind of a thing. So we will do that when we get there. So right now I need to make my first V-stitch into the 5th chain from the hook. So I'm going to turn my chain over. I don't know if you can see because it's a dark color. That first little bump there, that's my first chain. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my 5th chain from the hook where my thumbnail is. So I'm going to yarn over, insert into that chain, yarn over and drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's my double crochet. Now I'm going to take a moment here and put my stitch marker in. So this V right behind my hook, that's my double crochet I just made. But the V next to it is that that chain that I indicated before that I want to mark, because I need to work into that chain on the way back. Okay, now according to the chart, we need to chain 1, and then I'm going to double crochet back into this same chain. Now there's no chains in between your V's. You just skip chains on the bottom. So I need to skip 2 chains and into this 3rd chain, make a V-stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, insert into my chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over again, pull through the next 2 loops. That's my first double crochet. I'm going to chain 1 and then make another double crochet into that same chain to complete my V-stitch. So you see how because I'm working into the chain, everything gets a little bit sort of distorted, but that is my V-stitch right there. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Okay, let's keep repeating that. We're going to skip 2 chains and then into that 3rd chain. We're going to double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Skip 2 chains, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Now I should have 2 chains left, and my chart here is showing there's 2 chains, and then I'm going to double crochet into that last chain, and I'm going to change color to my yellow. So skip skip a chain, and then we're going to double crochet, changing color. So I gotta find my yellow, and here, lay it on my hook, and pull it through. Now, this pattern, we've got 1 row of color, and then we go right back into the dark blue again. So it doesn't say anything in here about carrying your color across. They are probably intending for you to cut your yarn with each row. I really hate doing that because I really hate sewing in all those ends. So I'm going to carry my yarn across, which means as I get ready to work with my yellow, I'm just sort of placing my dark blue behind my work here. And so every time I make stitches, I can catch it. Now there might be some floats because we've got some chains, but I think it will be minimally obvious. All right, so I need to single crochet into this first chain. So when I enter into the stitch, I'm going to make sure that my dark blue tail is also on top of my hook, so that when I do my yarn over, I catch it and secure it behind. And then I can put a stitch marker there, just indicating that's my first stitch. So I'm single crocheting on top of this double crochet, and then I chain 1, which is actually on top of the double crochet, and I am single crocheting into that chain 1 space. Chain 1, single crochet into the next chain 1 space, all the way across. I have single crocheted onto the top of my double crochet, and I have chained 1. So now I need to find my next chain 1 space, which is here in between my V-stitches, and I'm going to insert into that chain 1 space, grab my yarn, and complete my single crochet. And chain 1, find the next chain 1 space, which is over here. Here's my V, there's my chain 1 space, insert to my hook, and I'm just pulling that yarn behind to keep it nice and taut. So when I get to the end of this row, whoops, I forgot to chain 1. I'll take a look and see how we're doing with this yarn. If it's gonna be too obvious, then I guess I'll just have to cut my yarn every row. Okay, I'm gonna chain 1. And then my last single crochet is going to go into my turning chain, which is where my stitch marker is. So that's what we have so far. I'm going to turn it over. If we take a look at the back there, is there an extra strand? Yes. Is it super obvious? I don't think so. So I think this is going to work. And I just realized I needed to change color in this last stitch. So let's just pull that out. I can drop my yellow, and now my blue is ready for me, and I can pull that through. Okay, so now we're down here. We're going to chain 3. I'm going to put a stitch marker in the third chain. I'm going to do one more chain, and then I'm going to spike double all the way down into this space beneath the yellow row. So let's see what this looks like. I'm going to chain 3 and place my stitch marker, because I will need to stitch into that on my way back. I'm going to do one more chain, turn my work, and then I need to spike all the way down to here. So I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to insert into that gap. So this is my starting sort of turning chain, and then my first double crochet. So I'm going in between those two. So because this is a spike double crochet, I'm going to pull up that that yarn over extra tall, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now we're going to repeat that in between these two. Okay, so we're going to yarn over. We are going to come all the way down here to between these 2 V stitches. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull a loop extra tall, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, and come back down into that V there. Pull up extra tall, complete my double crochet. Now I'm going to repeat that in this next space in between these 2 V's. So basically where our chains are in our colored rows, we come down and we're going to do our spike V below that. Pull up extra tall, complete your double crochet, chain 1, right back into that same space, finish your double crochet. And now we should have one more over here, so I'm going to yarn over. Sorry, I got to come to the right space here. Chain 1, do my spike V. So let's take a look here, because we're sort of repeating what we did at the beginning. I've just completed this spiked V, and now I'm going to do my spike double crochet into this last space. So in between my last V of row 1 and my last double crochet of row 1, chain 1, and then I'm double crocheting into the single crochet and changing color, and we're going to do the orange. Now I can actually cut off this yellow. I could have done that when I finished the yellow, but I didn't. All right, so this is the space that we are looking at now. In between our last V of row 1 and our last double crochet of row 1, we are going to spike double crochet all the way down there. Remember to pull up nice and tall. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to double crochet into this single crochet, like the yellow single crochet. So insert, pull up your loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and I'm going to pause and bring in my orange. And we're going to chain 1. We're going to single crochet into the top of this stitch and replace my stitch marker. Whoops, I forgot to grab my blue. So let's try that again. Insert into the stitch, lay my blue on top because we want to carry that across. Finish my single crochet. And then I can mark that single crochet. Now here we have a slightly different stitch pattern. So this is my first V-stitch. So I need to single crochet inside that V-stitch, chain 1, come over to my next V-stitch, single crochet inside that one, chain 1, hop over to my next V, single crochet in that, chain 1, and I'm capturing that blue behind. Come over to my next V-stitch, single crochet in the middle of my V-stitch, chain 1, and then my last V-stitch is made up with this spike, chain 1, double crochet situation, although it's a chain. So I am going to single crochet in that chain 1 space, and then I'm going to single crochet into the top of that turning chain, and we can change color back to the blue. All right, so I'm going to chain 3 and mark the top of that chain, turn my work. This is what we have so far. Now we are going to, this is our first V, this is our second V. So we need to come over in between the V's and do our spiked V-stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, insert, pull up a nice long loop, double crochet, chain 1, and then do my second spiked V. And I can come over in between those 2 V's and do another spiked V. Come over in between the 2 V's again. So remember, you're looking for the chain spaces basically of your color row. So where you have a chain there, that below that, 1 row below, is where you do your spike. And then we are going to double crochet in this last single crochet, and we are going to change to our green. I'm going to chain 1, turn my work. I'm pretty confident there's going to be a single crochet in there. So I'm just going to get that done and mark it off, and then we can take a look at the chart. So I'm here, I've done my single crochet. So now I need to chain 1 and then find that chain space in between my V and single crochet into the chain space, chain 1 and repeat all the way. My last single crochet will go into the turning chain, and then we're going to repeat. So this here, this bracket here, these are the rows that we're repeating. So we're repeating row 3 and row, it's like 3, 4, 5 we're repeating basically. Sorry, we're not. 2, 3, 4, 5 is what we're repeating. So let's finish this row. I've done my first single crochet. I can chain 1, find my V-stitch. There's my chain 1 space, so I can put my single crochet in there. Oops, oh, I did it again. I keep forgetting that I am carrying this blue across. It's the crochet gods saying you should not be lazy and you should cut them every row and weave in all these ends. Shush, shush, crochet gods, we'll get there. Okay, we're at the end. I'm going to take out my stitch marker and making sure I grab that blue and lock it in place. I'm going to do my last single crochet back here, changing color as I go. So now I can chain 3 because I know I'm going to start with a chain 3. I'm going to mark that chain 3. I can cut off this blue. We're coming down. We've just done basically a row 2. So we are doing our chain of 4. So I've done chain 3, I've marked it. Now I'm going to add one more chain and do my spike. Down a row. So let's take a look what that looks like. So I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to add a chain. So this is our turning chain from the row below, and this is the first double crochet of the spike. So this space here is where we need to do our spike. Okay, and that completes the V-stitch there. And now I'm going to come all the way over in between these two V's over here, which is beneath a chain of my color row. That's kind of my visual cue. I look for those chains in my color row. So there's my chain. I got to come down below it in between these V's and do my spike V. There's one more. And now we're at the end. So I've got one more chain there. This is with the gap beneath my chain. So I'm going to do my spiked V, get my stitch marker out of the way. And then I'm going to double crochet onto the top of this single crochet. And we're going to change the card changes back to yellow, so let's just follow that. We'll add our yellow in. Pull that through. Chain 1, turn, making sure to grab my blue. I'm not going to make that mistake again. And single crochet. So now we've got a chain space here because we're repeating row 4, which started with 2 single crochets. I'm going to chain 1, hop over in between my V-stitch, put a single crochet, chain 1, in between my V-stitch, single crochet, and then all the way to the end, single crochet into the chain space, and then my stitch marker kind of came dislodged, but this is the top of that turning chain there. We can put our last single crochet in there. And we will chain 3, put my stitch marker back in, can cut off my yellow, and the pattern card says to ending with an odd number row. So we're going to end with a blue row. This is looking really squished to me. So let's take a look here. We've got our chain of 3. We're going to come over in between these 2 V's here and do our spiked V, chain 1, spike double crochet, come over here, we're looking for those chain spaces again, right? So we need to come below that chain space in our color row and do this spike V there. All right, we got one more chain space. one more V-stitch. And then we can double crochet in this last chain. And because we are probably going to be starting our border, I'm not going to worry about changing color there. So that is where we are. So like I just said, mine is looking very like tall and skinny, like and squished. Trust the process, right? Okay, before we start our border, I am going to weave in these ends. So I'm just going to take care of that, and then we'll come back and do the border together. My ends are all woven in. Before I proceed though, I want to talk about its size because it is small. So if I compare it to last week's, it's titchy. Even adding my border onto there, it's really probably only going to bring it out to about here. If I compare it to that half double crochet one that is kind of my smallest square so far, it's smaller than that. And there's not a lot of give to it. There's a bit of give this way, but not this way, which I think boils down to my single crochets. So let that be a lesson to you. Maybe loosen up on your single crochets. But also I think I should have started with a longer foundation chain. So that's where you come back to your card, because this one where it gives you your stitch multiple, so your starting chain needs to be a multiple of 3 plus 4, and we started with 16 chain, so that works out to 12 plus 4 is 16. So I should have started with like add another repeat onto that. So if this one was starting with 12, then 12 plus 3 is 15, plus 4 is 19. So I should have started with 19 chains, and that would have given me just a little bit more width, and it would make it square, because right now, well, it's not really square. Anyways, we're just gonna carry on because we're trying to make up for missing a week. So I don't want to spend more time on this than I need to. So right now I am going to chain 1, and then we can start working our border. So we did start with 16, and then we have the sort of 4 turning chains in the corner. What I need is, we just figured out that the repeat was 12 plus 4. So because of that 4 turning chain, I need 13 stitches. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's like, that works up there. I need to make sure I have 13 down here. We'll get there. So we are going to put a single crochet, let's make sure we're in focus first, into the top of the our last double crochet, and then I think I forgot a chain space there. Interesting. We can just pull that back and redo that. Okay, that's better. Okay, so single crochet into that that first stitch, which is your last double crochet, and then you're going to single crochet into the next stitch, which is the double crochet of your V. Then you got a chain space. You're going to single crochet in your chain space, in your double crochet, the next double crochet, your chain space, and then you've got 2 double crochet stitches next to each other, a chain space, 2 double crochet stitches next to each other, a chain space, and you got a double crochet and a turning chain. So let's get our final stitch into our turning chain. And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Well, 14 it is. We'll make 14 work. So there we go. Single crochet across. I'm at my end. I can chain one. I did not go into the chain. I went around the chain. Goodness, I am making so many mistakes today. This is what happens when your brain is still fogged up. All right, into the chain. Make my corner. That's a chain one, and then right back into that same stitch. Now we need to try and get 14 down the side. So I've already got one. If we do 2 double crochets per blue row and 1 for each single crochet row, each colored row, let's see where that gives us. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's do that. I'm just going to come around that double crochet. I'll go into the side of these colored rows. I'm going to go around and then kind of pick up some strands here and sort of, nope, that does not work. All right, that's 2 there. We need 1 for the color row. So I'm literally trying to shove my hook through that stitch. Now we're into a blue row, so I'm just going around these double crochets because there's not a ton there to pick up. So I don't really have a lot of leeway, a lot of options. I just need to go around those stitches. Going through colored, oh, that looks messy. See, this is why I try and pick up 2 strands of a stitch, because when you only pick up 1, it just pulls everything weird and gets messy looking. Okay. And now we're back at the beginning corner where we had 4 chains. So that is where all our stitches went. So we need to come in here, right beside, for our last stitch. We're going to chain 1, turn the corner, and come right back into that same chain. So now I'm working across the bottom. So 1 stitch, like where I made my initial V's, that's really obvious where I'm putting my stitch. And then 2 just kind of around where we skip 2 chains. Let's do a stitch count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, and let's one at the end there. And now we're just going to do the same thing up the side where we have 2 stitches per blue row and 1 per colored row. And these are the actual double crochets, I think, so I've got a little bit more to work with. We chain 1, find our first single crochet, slip stitch, chain 1, and now we can do all that again. So single crochet in every stitch all the way around. At our chain 1 corners, we do a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, fasten off, and you're all done. So I'll come back when it's all finished. All finished. That is the Pip Stitch. So next week, which will happen later this week, we are going to look at this one called the Mermaid. Some fishy tails. All right, I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for joining me today. Bye-bye.